All right, trying this again because I got an important phone call like the first 2 minutes into this video. Hello, welcome to Also Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the I don't have the basketball. The basketball is to cover the fact that you have a little bit of a gut, so don't forget that. Hello everybody, welcome to Also Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and drop a like on this video. I am trying to hit 100k subscribers on this channel by the end of the year, so your subscription will be much appreciated. Man, that was fast. Also, real quick, go watch my first video of my NBA series on the Dallas Mavericks over on my main channel, and then go watch episode 2 and presumably episode 3 relatively soon over on my 2K channel. If it's confusing, like I use the first episode on my main channel to promote the 2K channel, and then the 2K channel is where the series will be hosted from then on out. So yeah, go do those things. Anyways, today's video is going to be me reacting to an article, which is not something I do all the time, but strapped for content, so here we are. It's the 2017 redraft from Bleacher Report, particularly from Andy Bailey, who is known for having questionable and like way too analytics-based takes on Twitter. But he put this article out that was a redraft going in the first round. I'm not really going to focus too much on the first round because this is a draft that didn't have a whole lot of depth to it, and a lot of these players past like 20 are not very good. Like we're talking about Tony Bradley at pick number 22. And the only gripe that I have with this list is that Luke Kornet is picked. Luke Kornet is terrible. When he was with Chicago, he was one of the worst players I've ever seen. And I'm saying that as a Bulls fan, when the team has had one of the worst players in the league getting minutes almost constantly in my lifetime. So, or not my lifetime, but my time as a Bulls fan. So that said, other than that, I'm just going to be focusing pretty much on the lottery because I think it's the only thing worth note. Other than, or did he go in the lottery in this draft? Yes, he did. Kyle Kuzma at number 13 over Luke Kennard. I'd take Luke Kennard over Kyle Kuzma. Josh Hart, I'd take Josh Hart over Kyle Kuzma. Thomas Bryant, I'd definitely take Thomas Bryant over Kyle Kuzma. Chris Boucher, who I think is pretty underrated, I would take over Kyle Kuzma. Markelle Fultz, I'd probably take over Kyle Kuzma. Dylan Brooks, I would take over Kyle Kuzma. Malik Monk, I might take over Kyle Kuzma. We'll have to wait and see. And then after that, yeah. So he should go 21 rather than 13 based on my takes on him. Another one is Monte Morris at 12, taken below Lauri Markkanen. I would absolutely take Monte Morris over Lauri Markkanen. If we're just going to go through this list again, I would take Luke Kennard over Lauri. I would take Josh Hart over Lauri. I would take Thomas Bryant over Lauri. I would take Chris Boucher over Lauri. I would take Markelle Fultz and Dylan Brooks over Lauri. I think both Kyle Kuzma, but especially Markkanen, not very good. Anyways, Monte Morris, another player who is pretty underrated to me. I genuinely think you give him the right opportunity, Monte Morris could probably be like a passable efficiency 20-7 on a not great team. And one of the best backup point guards in the league, if not the best backup point guard in the league. So I think he should be definitely above Lauri Markkanen without a shadow of a doubt. Portland Trail Blazers, Derek White at number 10. Oh, by the way, I should mention this. I had to look at the start of the article just to be sure this was the case. This article is not taking fit into account. It is specifically stated that this is a taking the best player available situation. And with that being the case, that even further makes some of the stupidity of this article even worse. So like Derek White at number 10 to Portland. Derek can play both guard positions. Obviously that's pretty locked up with Dame and CJ, so not really a necessary thing, but he's the best player available here. I do agree with that with the 10th pick. So definitely not taking fit into account. So just keep that in mind with the remainder of this redraft. At number 9, for the Dallas Mavericks, we have Jonathan Isaac, who was originally picked number 6 by the Magic. While I do think Isaac has a ton of potential, injury is a huge factor, and injury has been such a huge factor that it becomes a point where it's like, okay, is injury just not inherently a part of the package you're getting with this player, which is unfortunate, but Isaac, I think, is a modern day Andre Karolinko, and I think given the proper opportunity, he can be one of the even 5 best defensive players in the league. He just really needs to be healthy. Anyways, Jonathan Isaac, I think that's a fair pick at number 9. Number 8, OG Anunoby, or is it Anunoby? I always forget. And he is taken after Jarrett Allen and John Collins, and I would definitely take him over both of those players personally. Although I especially think that like OG is probably my pick for most improved player going into next year. And of course, with a 2017 redraft, this is not so far into the future or so far from when it happened. I think it was 4 years ago. It's not so far away that potential is not a factor in this. Almost every player towards the top of this list have not reached their peak yet. So OG, I'm also just projecting a little bit. Like, I think OG can be a 20-point scorer while being one of the best defensive players in the league, and even showing a little bit of flashing as being a little bit more of a playmaker, even though not a big part of his game. But shot amazing from 3 last year, good finisher. Ball handle has been improving, and one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. I would take him over Jarrett Allen, even though Allen is also really good. He has been Allen himself, like, he has shown flashes of being a more versatile offensive player with some shooting here or there, but for the most part, not really a thing. So just like one of the better run, jump, and dunk and rim protecting big men in the league. Also quick enough on his feet to have the versatility to defend the perimeter. Not an elite level, but a pretty good level while being fantastic protecting the basket. Good rebounder, good shot blocker. That's the same thing as protecting the basket. And, well, it's not necessarily, because you can be like Kristaps Porzingis and be a good shot blocker but a terrible rim protector, which is a weird place to be. But anyways, I would go OG over Allen, but I don't think that's ludicrous to think. What is ludicrous, however, is that after Allen at 7, we have De'Aaron Fox at 6. And what makes the De'Aaron Fox thing awful is that there are 2 players who are definitely better than De'Aaron Fox above him in this draft. And remember, fit is not taken into account. So like Orlando Magic, De'Aaron Fox is exactly what they needed. If they had taken him, or if he had fallen to them instead of Jonathan Isaac, first of all, I imagine they would have taken him, and second, would have been fantastic. But other than that, the Sacramento Kings take John Collins. Now, looking at where the Kings were in 2017, they didn't really have a positional requirement. So it's not as though you could make an argument, even though, again, this list is just taking best player available. You couldn't even make an argument like, oh, they had some point guard and John Collins, they had a hole at power forward. Like, they kind of had a hole at everything. So that's bad. That's bad. There's no excuse for this. John Collins is notably worse than De'Aaron Fox, and that's not a knock on John Collins. I would probably take Allen and I would take OG. I might take Allen. And if Jonathan Isaac lived up to his potential, I would take a healthy Jonathan Isaac over John Collins. But again, projecting potential, injury, all that. So I'd probably, like, if I'm making a safe pick, go with John Collins. But OG definitely better, and Allen probably better, and De'Aaron Fox, without a shadow of a doubt, better than John Collins. And then on top of John Collins, there is Lonzo Ball. I love Lonzo Ball. I have been a big advocate for Lonzo Ball over the past couple of years. He's obviously now on my Chicago Bulls, as I have been asking for like 2.5 years now. But no, he's not better than De'Aaron Fox. There's just no excuse for it. And the thing that kind of annoys me about this article is it doesn't really give explanation for the placement, because like here Andy says the fact that he's outside of the top 5 is a testament to the rest of this draft class. No, it's not, because you put 2 players above him that are not better at all. So that's not a testament to this draft class. It is a testament to your stupid placement of these players in this draft, in this redraft. John Collins is a fine player, but I think he showed in the playoffs that what he brings to the table was not as utilized within the Hawks system. Not to say that he can't still be like a 20 and 10 big man with passable defense and good three-point shooting and finishing at the rim. One of the best pick and roll players is the roll man in the league. But no, He's not better than De'Aaron Fox, and this kind of just reinforces my belief that De'Aaron Fox is one of the most underrated players in the league, and honestly probably my pick for the most underrated player in the league, and that's fully just because he's in Sacramento and they're a losing team. If De'Aaron was on a good team or a big market, or especially both, he would be much more well-known and not disrespected to the point of people saying that John Collins is better than him. That's ridiculous. And Lonzo Ball is also ridiculous. I would take Lonzo over John Collins personally, but I would also take OG over Lonzo Ball, not to mention it. Anyways, next up, if we're getting into the top 3 now, I think this is a fair placement. Obviously, Jason Tatum is number 1. Now, the article frames it as like, is it Mitchell or is it Tatum who should be number 1? It's Tatum, dude. Let's not do this. I don't know why. There's so many times there's like Twitter posts and it's like Jason Tatum, Devin Booker, Zach LaVine, Brandon Ingram. Who's the best player here? It's Jason Tatum. It's not. It's a different tier. Jason Tatum is in a different tier from Donovan Mitchell. Now, maybe you make the playoff argument at that point, maybe. But at least regular season-wise, without a shadow of a doubt, Jason Tatum is better. And that's not a knock on Donovan Mitchell whatsoever. Jason Tatum's just really fucking good. But anyways, speaking of Mitchell, number 3, of course, is Bam Adebayo. Now, this is where I think things get interesting. This is a completely fair placement and probably how I would do it. But on potential, Bam, I could see a world where Bam ends up being better than Donovan Mitchell. No doubt right now that Donovan Mitchell is a better player, especially with how much he elevates his game in the playoffs. But the potential Bam Adebayo has offensively, if he delivers on that, let's say fast forward 5 years from now, I think Bam Adebayo can be a Kevin Garnett kind of player offensively, not to the same degree, but a similar type. He already kind of is a similar type, but he's much less of a one-on-one creator than Kevin Garnett. Much more of his offense is created for him. That said, Bam has expanded his ability to create off of the dribble and specifically his mid-range game, which is fantastic, or not fantastic, it's good, and I think going to be fantastic. If Bam continues to work on that and creates more off of the dribble, his playmaking takes another step. Like, he's averaged 5 assists the last 2 years. If he got to like 7, like, that's god tier for a center. And then a little bit more one-on-one creation and hopefully shooting threes. Like, if Bam was a 25-7 guy, while in my opinion being the best defensive player in the league, I think that's a little bit better than Donovan Mitchell. That said, Bam has also been sometimes a little more hesitant offensively than you would like, a little bit too timid, and let's say he never really gets over that. If he doesn't, I don't think he lives up to his potential. So I would take Mitchell over Bam, but like Bam's potential is higher than Mitchell, but I would just take the safe pick in this instance of Donovan Mitchell because he's better than Bam. And if I was a betting man, I'd probably bet on him continuing to be better. But Bam has like top 10 or probably even maybe top 8-ish player potential, but I don't want to bet too much on that, if you know what I mean. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I don't know, I might be reaching with that one, but I think Bam's offensive potential is very, very slept on, just because there's obviously a lot of focus on his defense, because his defense is very good. And that's what's interesting about redrafts from recent drafts, is that potential is a factor, and we can come back and, well, we can look at it now and say that it's wrong because John Collins over De'Aaron Fox is ridiculous, but we could see 5 years from now, some guy who barely even makes this and he's like in the 20s or something ends up breaking out and suddenly he's a top 5 player in the class. It's interesting how that works, but like if you're doing a redraft from 1992, you don't have to talk about fucking potential because they're not in the league anymore. Anyways, that was my thoughts on this list. It's not, like, it's actually fine outside of the De'Aaron Fox disrespect. I think there are placements I would do differently. I think OG is underrated in this, but De'Aaron Fox under John Collins and Lonzo Ball it's ludicrous. It's just downright just wrong. That is not true. I mean, it's not objective because none of this is strictly objective, but it's as close to it as it can be. Anyways, that is it. Goodbye.